What's going on, guys? My name is Matthew and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this tutorial, we'll be going over how to adjust your skin tone within Premiere Pro using both the Lumetri Color panel and the Lumetri Scopes panel. Let's dive in. So over here, we've got some stock footage here of a woman. She's turning her head one direction. So no frills, nothing really exciting here, but for this example, I think this piece of footage will do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up here to the Lumetri Color panel, click our footage, and then we can toggle the different settings here. Now, what we want to do is head down to the HSL Secondary panel. Now, over here to the left, you'll notice that I have a couple of scopes that will help us out in this scenario. More specifically, if you look at the vector scope, you'll see this little gray line right here. This is known as the skin tone line. And we use this line as a basis in terms of color correcting the skin so that it's as close to perfect as possible. Now, how are we going to adjust the skin tone specifically? So what we'll do is we'll take this eyedropper tool right here, and we're going to click and drag across the skin. Now, hit this check mark, and it will isolate the skin specifically. Over here, we have hue, saturation, and luma levels that we can play with. So starting with the H, if we take this and drag it, we can subtly change our settings here. Now down here to the S, if we pull this, we get a larger selection. But I'm going to shrink it a little bit so that we can get just the skin. Now down to the L, let's drag this out and really get more of that skin tone that we want to achieve. If we want to, we can also play with the denoise and blur tools. So as I drag this to the right, you can see, just barely for that matter, how much change it makes. Grab the blur tool, and it kind of blurs out the image a little bit. I'm going to keep these settings on 0. Now here's where we really make the magic happen. So this is a color correction tool specifically for the selection that we made. Now in this case, obviously we chose the skin, and we can make finer adjustments here. One thing we can do is we can play with the temperature. So if we drag this to the right and take a look to the left at our scopes, you can see how that's impacting the image. We're getting more saturation in our skin, and we're moving up the line, as it were. If we grab it and take it to the left, the skin gets a little cooler, and we're actually even desaturating the image. Double click, back to 0. Same thing with the tint. If we drag this to the right, you'll now see, especially in your vector scope to the left, that we're moving further away from the skin tone line. Move it in the other direction, and it goes in the opposite direction. Double click, back to normal. Now in this particular case, I have a piece of footage that was a log, and I applied a little S-curve to it so that it's a little more contrasty, a little more vibrant, as it were. So in the case of a log footage, you'll often see that the skin tone is pretty much spot on, as we see in this example. But in most cases, especially if you're working with, say, an H.264 codec, your skin tone might look a little something like this, where we're a little further away from the line, maybe closer to the magenta direction. And if I click this check mark, you might see more of a pink tone to the skin. So in that case, if your footage does look like that, you can simply grab the tint and even play with the temperature as well. But for this particular example, let's use the tint, move it to the left, and then you can really nail it and get that color just right. And furthermore, you can even play with the saturation and really make that skin pop. Another thing to note here is this box on the outside. This is your broadcast color limit. So if you are color correcting for broadcast, it's important that your tones don't exceed or don't go beyond the box out here. You'll want to stay within this box so that the colors don't kind of glitch out on you if it's meant for broadcast. And that's about it, guys. That's how you can adjust your skin tone. You can play with it, get it to the exact area that you want it to be, play with these different tools, and get your subject popping. All right, guys, that's the tutorial. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please like the video, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified every time I release a brand new video, and I will catch you guys next time.